card holder ends up in deportation proceedings is by filing for citizenship. That's right, filing for naturalization. And so when you're filing for naturalization, that USCIS officer is looking into your alien file. And so I see this quite often. You know, you've been a green card holder for 30 years. You think, look, the citizenship application is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to go ahead and file it. No big deal. I can file this on my own. Pretty straightforward application. Then you go to your interview and you learn that you've received either a notice of intent to deny or a request for additional evidence saying that USCIS intends to deny your case because of X, Y, and Z reason. And not only do they deny your naturalization application, but they also issue a notice to appear, an NTA, which places you in deportation proceedings. Happens quite often, more often than you think. So what are the reasons why filing a naturalization could put you in deportation? One, the most common one is criminal history ground. So even if it's a conviction from 30 years ago, and you've been a green card holder now for many, many years, and a conviction from 30 years ago, and you're like, shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, it can still put you in deportation proceedings after you file a naturalization application. Or you didn't file something that you needed to file when you applied for your green card. I've seen this happen where someone applied for a green card 10, 15 years ago, and the green card was granted, issued, no problem, and now applied for citizenship, and they're saying, whoops, when you filed that green card, you should have filed a waiver along with it. You didn't file a waiver, therefore your green card was issued incorrectly, and now you're in deportation proceedings. So it is quite important if you're filing for citizenship.
What's happening is they're leaving the United States, re-entering at a port of entry, right? Either flying back or coming back through a land border, and they're being denied entry and essentially expeditiously removed. And it's not everyone. So I want to clarify who this most likely is pertaining to based on an AILA practice advisory. AILA is the American Immigration Lawyers Association. And kind of an announcement they had made about who is being given some difficulty upon re-entry to the United States if they have a valid green card or had a valid green card. So essentially, there are two different groups of people. One is anybody who has a 10-year or a conditional green card who was issued a notice to appear in removal proceedings and deportation proceedings. Technically, they still have their green cards. They don't have them until a judge says that they should be ordered removed for whatever reason, and then their green cards might be taken away. So they're issued a notice to appear in immigration court. They still have a valid green card. They're leaving, they're re-entering, they're now in proceedings, and these people are getting...
The Trump administration just quietly launched a brand new unit focused specifically on deporting green card holders, not undocumented immigrants, legal permanent residents. According to reports, there are now dozens of immigration officers reviewing criminal histories, old applications, and past records looking for reasons to revoke people's status and put them into deportation proceedings. And this is what's getting attention. A huge percentage of the cases reviewed so far ended with no further action, meaning officers are digging through thousands of files, and most of the people reviewed aren't even being flagged for deportation. Meanwhile, immigration backlogs are exploding nationwide with millions of pending cases. So people are asking, why is the government suddenly shifting resources toward proactively investigating legal residents who already passed the system years ago? The administration says it's about fraud, national security, and violent crimes. But immigration experts are warning this could create fear among people who thought having a green card meant stability, because now the message feels different. Even permanent residency might not feel permanent anymore.
When in doubt, go back to what you know. The president is on his way home from China with no obvious wins to flaunt. The cost of living is still surging. Gas prices are still pretty high. The war in Iran is still going. The midterms look grim, and his approval ratings are in the dump, which is what makes this sudden flurry of immigration moves more interesting today. Because we're asking, could this White House be preparing to try to pivot back to immigration? Take a look at what has been happening behind the scenes. ICE is moving ahead with its plans to convert warehouses around the country into detention centers, despite a bunch of lawsuits, according to two people briefed on the discussions who spoke to the Washington Post. A new specialized unit has been formed to target and possibly deport some green card holders, according to the New York Times. And DHS is cleaning house. People familiar tell the Wall Street Journal that Secretary Markwayne Mullin is on a mission to fire officials who were close with Kristi Noem, specifically those involved in her spending decisions. He's also trying to recast immigration efforts as focused on criminals. DHS says personnel changes are part of any transition. Will any of this work, though? Or has the White House fundamentally lost the trust of the American people on immigration? Right now, 41% of Americans say they are confident Donald Trump will make good decisions on immigration policy. Before he took office, those numbers were well over 50%. It can be a pretty steep hill to climb to get those numbers back up because, as the saying goes, it's easy to lose trust, a lot harder to earn it.
The regime is now targeting green card holders for deportation. They've claimed that they want people to do it the right way, which is exactly what these folks are trying to do. They claim that they're just going after those who have criminal records, but according to this report, few of those targeted were found to have been approved improperly. I mean, imagine being someone who came to this country the right way and is going through the process, has done everything right, and is now being targeted for deportation on some bogus charge. With legal representation, many of these people can stand a chance at fighting this, but many of them can't afford it, and that's where the National Immigrant and Justice Center comes in. Now, if collectively Misfit Formation can bring in $500 worth of donations in the next 24 hours, there are 2 donors that will match that amount. And I'm going to put up to $100 of my money on the line, matching dollar for dollar every donation that comes in through the link in my bio. So if you can chip in 10, I'll match it, and we could turn that into 60 if we reach the goal. And if you can't afford to, that's fine, I totally get that, but you probably know somebody who can. Send a link directly to them, asking them to make a donation, and together we can do some real good.
Green card holders, avoid this mistake. This is a sad but true story. This is a story about a green card holder who was going through the naturalization process, but he was ambushed and arrested by ICE at his naturalization interview. He came to the United States years ago lawfully, and he met his U.S. citizen wife in Mississippi. Then he went back home and returned to the United States sometime later. Then they got married, and she filed for him. His wife's case was approved, and he was granted the 2-year conditional residency green card. They moved on with their life, and they had 4 children together, and they thought everything was okay. He then went on to apply for naturalization. Unfortunately, what he didn't know is that he missed a critical procedural step in the process that has now cost him his freedom. He forgot to apply to remove the conditions on his green card. He did not file the I-751 petition to remove conditions at the end of the 2 years. Because he didn't do this, he lost his lawful status, and USCIS placed him in removal in deportation proceedings. He was unaware of the fact that USCIS has placed him in removal, and he had a hearing date in 2019 that he never appeared at. Because he never showed up to court,